The Tapping is a murder mystery told through the eyes of a detective who is unwittingly compelled by the spirits of two dead children. St. Louis's very own Howard J. Levinson drew from over 30 years of service in law enforcement to create this spine-tingling novel, and he's here to tell us all about it. Welcome, Howard. There's so much to ask you about this. But first, tell me more about this book.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks for having me. Well, you know, I have seen a lot of death and destruction over my career as both a medic and a homicide detective, police detective. And so, you know, you draw on your experiences, and the key word in writing is write what you know. And so I know a little bit about those topics, so I took a lot of experiences and turned them into a novel.
And specifically, just give us a little background on what the plot is.
My protagonist is a detective, and he stumbled upon a cold case of the gruesome murder of two children. And just by accident, he found the case. He didn't work it initially. And what turns out is that earlier, he had been shot and brought back to life. And at the same time that he was shot, these two children were murdered. And everybody thinks about what happens after you die. Well, in this particular instance, the souls of the two dead children, gruesomely, viciously murdered, kind of intertwined with his soul when he died. And so they're floating around in limbo. They're not able to cross over into heaven, wherever you go. And so they want justice for their murders. And so they start tapping this detective, saying, basically forcing him to solve their murder. I'm
curious, this is sort of inspired by real life events, correct?
Not necessarily inspired, but I do fictionalize a lot of the things that I've seen and done over the years. Okay. There's a lot of forensics in it that are actually how things are done, on crime scene techniques and things like that.
So what specifically did you draw from in the years that you spent as a detective to come up with that whole element to it?
I think part of the mystery is, like I mentioned, is when we die, what happens to us? And in this particular instance, these two kids have had their souls ripped away because of the gruesome murder, and at the exact same moment, since he was murdered at the same time, they meshed. And I have not been murdered and brought back.
This is something that probably you thought about as a detective, or having seen a lot throughout the time that you were working in law enforcement, just thinking about, okay, what happens when somebody crosses over? What happens to the souls of some of these people? So
I've been present when any number of people have died, either on an ambulance or in the emergency room. I've been at many crime scenes where people have died, and you just you get some things stuck in your mind, and you start thinking about what happened and how did it happen and why did it happen. And the book kind of helped me filter through some things I was having from seeing a lot of things that I saw, and it was helpful to write this all down.
When did you start, speaking of writing it all down, when did you start to put this all on paper?
I'd say it was about 10 years ago. I actually started this particular novel. And I included, it was, in writing, you just keep writing, a flow of consciousness type thing. You just keep writing and writing, and then you eventually mold it into a storyline, and you come up with an outline of what's going to happen, and characters come from nowhere. My two dead children, there's not two dead children in a case that I worked, but, that's how they came to my mind, about two dead kids, and their autopsy and all these other things that I have seen in real life.
Did you grow up watching murder mysteries on television or in the movies?
Yeah, I watched a lot of those things when I was a kid. I liked, Twilight Zone, those weird things, and of course, in my day, it was Dragnet,
Right.
1 Adam 12. There wasn't anything like CSI or NCIS back then.
We'll get more about the plot when we come back and talk a little bit more about how this all evolved into what it is, and it sounds very exciting. So a lot of people will get a chance to check this out, we'll tell them how to get the book, actually, when we come back. So we'll get more on the actual plot of The Tapping when we return, and there's more in a moment.